John Nganga to take us through. Thank you.
Thank you. Bwana asifiwe. Grateful to God for opportunity to spend time with women leaders. I'm addressing myself to women leaders. Please notice the two words. Women leaders. This implies three things. Number one is that there are things that will not happen unless the women lead. Are we together? That when women fail to lead, something will go wrong. In fact, many of the things that go wrong in society, if you trace them, the problem is because women refuse to lead. I've just written a book not too long ago called Parenting as Leadership. I want people to know that when you're a parent, you are a leader. And so it means that you as a mother must remember you are not just a mother, you are a leader. And that's the first thing you must understand. That many women think they are not leaders, so their work is to just biologically look after the child, not understanding what it means to be a leader and how you can be a leader as a parent. The second thing this one is telling us, not just that women should lead, and if they don't lead, there's a problem. The second thing that it's mentioning is that men leading alone will have a problem. That's why we talk about women leadership. Because men leading alone is a problem. Why? God created man, made him a leader on a farm. The farm was called Eden. And then God realized there's a problem here. For the farm to be led well, they required a co-leader. And the co-leader was already called Eve. So you need to understand that we are talking about women leadership in order for men to know that they are not supposed to lead alone. They are supposed to lead with women. And it's very important to understand. But lastly and importantly, we are talking about women leadership because it is very, very important that you understand that half of the population on earth are women. And the best person to influence them is another woman. Those are my three introductory points as to why I'm excited to talk about leadership with women. Are we together? Still in my introduction, I want you to understand that when you use the term leader, it comes from the word lead. So a leader is a person who leads. So we are defining leadership. So it means that if you are a leader, you must tell me who is following. Because you are not a leader unless somebody is following. Because a leader is a person who goes ahead and others follow. And it will be very, very important to understand that. See in the introduction, but for anybody to follow you, there are likely to be three things that are causing anybody to follow you. Number one, it can be your competence. In other words, you have seen the way Mama so-and-so is making kyodo and you cannot make like her. So you go near her to see how she makes, so that you can also make a kyodo like her. What has made you follow that lady? Competence. Are we together? So if you want anybody to follow you, one of the things you require is competence. There's something about the way you do things that causes others to want to follow you. So if you are the type of a person who is doing everything you do, though, do you know what this you do though? Yeah. Whichever way it comes out, it doesn't bother you. You are likely to become a leader. Somebody will see how you are making things and say, I don't know how to make it, but I never want to make like that one. So you'll still be calling yourself a leader, but nobody is following. They left you a long time ago. Why? Because you lack competence. You can be the Sunday school superintendent come from Sitam. We use such a term, but I don't know what you call it in here. The person in charge of all Sunday school teachers, but nobody follows you. Because they have watched you teach Sunday school, and you're a mess. You quarrel with the children instead of teaching them. And they say, I don't know how to teach children, but I'll never teach like so and so. I have no idea why the pastor ever made her our leader. In fact, finally, Sunday school teachers start resigning one after the other. You still call yourself a leader, but there are no followers. Because you are lacking competence. So it's very important to understand if you want to retain leadership, it will be critical that whatever task you want to lead in, you must put the midnight oil to improve it. You know, as our cities are teaching Sunday school and they just look at their Sunday school notes Sunday morning, they are likely to become leaders. The proper person who wants to be a leader start preparing the Sunday school lesson on Monday. By Wednesday, they know exactly what they are going to teach. Then they use Thursday, Friday, Saturday in order to just review. When they come on Sunday, they are teaching in such a way everybody wants to be like them. Can you see the followers?
Yeah.
So that's what you need to understand. Or you say, I am a leader. Why? I lead choir. But you sing like a frog. Now you need to understand. You need to understand you are still called a leader. But you are just called a leader.
Yeah.
There are likely to be any followers. My wife likes saying, when people don't recognize your competence, they like voting with their legs. They don't vote with their hand, they vote with their legs. What does it mean? They move away. You just find higher. The choir is getting less and less. And they're not quarreling you, they're just voting with their legs. Soon enough you have no followers. Am I communicating?
Yeah.
So it will be very, very important that you understand that for people to follow, because we are talking about a leader is a person who is followed.
Yeah.
For that to happen, you need to be competent, whatever the area. Yeah. Number two, if people are going to follow you, you not only need competence, you also need chemistry. You know, there are people who are competent, but they have no chemistry. What's chemistry? No, basically their chemistry seems to work. They seem to agree. But there are people that are totally competent, but they have no chemistry. They do a good job, you tell them, well done. Who told you I needed you? Now, basically, you talk like that to people, they want to follow you, or they say, but is that the only guy I can follow? Sure, there might be somebody else I can. I agree he's competent, but I'd rather lose his competence than follow somebody with this bad chemistry. So you need to understand, for people to follow you as a leader, you must work on your chemistry. I'm still on my introduction. And you need to understand that sometimes you wonder, why don't people like me? They don't hate you. It's the chemistry. There are people who don't care. You know, somebody says, don't you know I'm Mama Kanisa? That's so what? You see, nobody will follow you because you are Mama Kanisa for long.
Yeah.
Titles only make people look up to you, but not actually follow you. Are we together? Once I hear, this is Mama Kanisa. Oh, I want to know you. If your chemistry is wrong, I'll leave you with your title. Am I communicating?
Yeah.
So titles can get you up there, your chemistry will bring you all the way down. So it's very important to understand. A lot of people think that, but you know, I'm the Sunday school superintendent. Please understand, the title is not adequate. You require chemistry. Chemistry, three things about chemistry. We are still on number two, but three things about chemistry. Chemistry is made, number one, from humility. In other words, there's a level of humility that makes people attracted to you. When you're not blowing your own trumpet, you seem to accept people the way they are, and you don't throw your weight around. Are we together? Humility. Everybody wants want to be near somebody who has humility. You mean that was Mama Kanisa? I didn't know. People just discover your Mama Kanisa. By that time, they are close to you. They are happy with you. Because you have humility. Number two, if you want good chemistry, you are the kind of a person who think highly of others. You know, you have no difficulty seeing somebody better than you. And you know that happens to be the truth. There is always somebody better than you. You may be better at dressing than me, but that's not the only item available, isn't it? So, if you are better in one thing, check what is that person better at that is better than you. Because the moment you recognize what I'm good at, you will respect me. Are we together? Yes. So, if you really want to have chemistry, whoever thinks highly of me, I want to be near them. You're the one who say, by the way, Brother Nganga, that's my name. Brother Nganga, the way you talked last time, I liked it. I want to hear that again, so I'll keep coming nearer. Our chemistry is going right. If you're the type who says, Brother Nganga, you talk nicely, but I wonder whether you can pull that English. Now, do I want to be near you again? No. Because my Kikuyu English has been with me for years. I was telling Pastor Wainaina, the first I came to my Mahiu was about 1968. I was from one, and we were coming to see where the hot water was. There was no Mahiu. There was no town here called Mahiu. The water is actually inside somewhere. It's a long walk to where the hot water is. As a young boy in 1968, as a from one boy, I went to see the place. My friend, I can start talking about my age and throwing it around, soon enough nobody wants to talk to me. Am I? But if I start saying, you are so young and you know so much, I'm so happy. Young people want to be with me. Are we together? Yes. That's how when you keep telling people, this is my daughter, this is my daughter. Now, you will soon have no daughter. Because nobody wants to be regarded as a daughter. They are free to call you mom, but you should never call them daughter. Because calling them daughter is bringing them down. We are still talking about chemistry. So you think, what's wrong with? But I'm really her mother. Yes, you are, but she want other people to know you are. Am I communicating? Yeah. So you keep wondering, how come don't people see how competent I am? Your problem is chemistry. And your chemistry is not, you have humility, yes, but you don't seem to appreciate others. You think they don't amount to much. So think about it. And exactly the same, and that's not our subject today, but you are the leader of your husband. Before you lead anybody else, the first person to lead is your husband. And you lead him with competence. As a wife, be competent. And in other words, even if the devil wanted to see another woman, says, but he can never come to the standard of my wife. That's competence. Are we together? Yes. The guy will follow you wherever. Because you are competent. The way you cook is competent. My wife was preaching in Kapiaka University last weekend. Yes, last weekend. This last weekend but one. I was preaching in Kapianga. And so I was left in the house alone. And of course, as a grandfather, just the two of us who were there. So I was the one who cooked tea. As I drink it in the evening, I really can never taste like my wife's tea. So when she called me now on Saturday evening, I told her, I've just made tea. Now I know there's something you do to the tea. And I'm able. And she hasn't told me, but I'm here she felt happy. She felt happy to come back, not to stay longer. Am I communicating? Yes. It happened to be the truth anyway. I can't make tea as good as my wife. That's competence. Are we together? Yes. So I want to be there for competence. But some women can make such good food, but you cannot enjoy eating it. Because they put it on their table, and that's telling you, and where did you give any money? Where do you think this food came from? Now, you have very competence, now you're losing Chemistry. Because there's nothing good you are seeing that guy has. So you need to find a way. There are times you have to tell him something critical, but appreciating people will make them want to follow you. People want to follow somebody who appreciates them. In fact, I say, since you must tell people truth about themselves, say 3 things that are good about them to earn the right to say 1 thing that's not good. In other words, your tea is good. I really enjoy it. And when you look after my children, it's fantastic. No, I'm so happy you're the mother of my children. And by the way, I really like other areas also. But by the way, that ugali today, by that time, she's so happy with the 3, she will listen to your ugali issue. But if every day is ugali, you have no followers. Am I communicating?
Yes.
So it's very important to understand that you need humility to have chemistry. You need appreciating other people to have chemistry. And thirdly, if you really want to have chemistry, you must be other-centered rather than self-centered. Every time you must ask, what can I do for others? Not what can they do for you. And that's one of the things that churches are losing these days. Why? Because the people in leadership, they arrive there, their Bible is taken over. Someone wants to carry your Bible, and you allow them. They will carry it, but they will not follow you. Because they wonder, doesn't she also have hands? Am I communicating?
Yes.
So you should find a nice way, a very nice way of refusing without hurting. To say, thank you very much, but you know, I know my wife doesn't like people coming. You say, but it is personal. I need it all the time next to me. In other words, you must be nice to them, but still they must know you are a sister in the Lord. You are no more than a sister in the Lord. Are we together?
Yes.
The moment you don't have that kind of appreciation about people, there will be a problem. Sorry, I'm still in my introduction. But you have understood. So competence, then chemistry. Are we together?
Yes.
Then the third thing is visionary. Visionary. Competence, chemistry. The third one is, I thought it would be complicated. It's called conceptualization. Conceptualization, which is ability to think things ahead before they happen. Conceptualize them before they happen. You know, like you are coming here, I've never been here before. If the person was with another brother, if they are better, if I realize they understand this place better than me, I'll go quiet and allow them to lead, isn't it? Like now there was a Kaledi I was given by Jane, you know, Kaledi, I was given something, I put them later on, she kept, move on, 2 more kilometers. Once I realized so far she seemed to be right, I sat back and allowed her to lead us up to here. I never asked anybody the way. She was the leader. Am I right? Because you could conceptualize the journey. Are we together? So you need to understand that anybody who seems to know where people are going, people tend to follow them. In 1973, several of us young people went to Kisumu in something that was called the TLS Born Training. TLS, most of the people in their 70s who are church leaders actually started their journey in Kisumu, December 1973. T.L. Osborne issued an invitation to all high schools and colleges in Kenya, telling people to go to Kisumu for 10 days and they do not have to pay anything, you meet all their costs, and that even if you pay transport, please carry the receipts because you'll be given double the money so that you can return your parents' money. I don't think I've seen anything else like that. So we all went, those days the train is what we used. We were all full, the train was full of people going to Kisumu. And he taught us many things that have been very, very useful. So when he came back, and his message was, go out where the sinners are. In other words, don't expect to do God's work in church. Because the Great Commission is not Kami, it is Goyi. So the idea of calling yourself a pastor and you are always in church, you have not read the Great Commission. The Great Commission was Goyi, not Kami. So clear responsibility says we must go out where the sinners are. In Central Province, you hardly saw any open air meetings. But after Kisumu, there were young people everywhere with the drums, and we preach everywhere. That's what we call the Pentecostal revival of 1970s. It started in Kisumu. When we talk about the bishop of Deliverance Church, the other day I was invited by the bishop in Eldoret, and we were happy looking and remembering the days in Kisumu. Because we were young people in 1973 in Kisumu. When I came, we started in Nyandarua. I come from Nyandarua. We started a team. And obviously, because I was a university student, I didn't expect to become the leader because after all, I'm not in Kinago. And then people said, no, you must lead us. I said, why? You seem to know where we are going. But I'm not here. No, you seem to know. Like, finally, we registered the group with KSCF. They said, see, headquarters in Konko. You go and find out what they want, be our leader. Once we are stable, you can hand over. That was 1974, and I could not come out from the leadership until 10 years, about 1983. There was, every time we did elections, I was returned. Not because I'm a wonderful leader, but because I seem to know where the team is going. Am I communicating?
Yes.
So if you really want leadership, you must know something others don't know about where we are going into the future. You can call yourself chairman and you want to go to Maimahiu, where the water is, and you start taking us towards Mountain Margaret. From that moment, we just leave you to go alone. And we go to whoever seems to know is the one we shall follow. So it's important to understand, if you want people to follow you, it will be critical that those people think or assume you know where you are going. As soon as they discover you don't, you'll be left alone. And once there are no people following, don't call yourself a leader. Say, I'm taking a walk. Because leadership, somebody must follow. Are we together?
Yes.
So it's very important to understand that. Maybe one more thing before I finish with my introduction. We are still trying to answer the question, what makes somebody a leader and another not a leader? Trust. I can tell you, remember, leaders are leading you to a new place out of your comfort zone. They are leading you where you have never been. You are trying to achieve something you have never achieved. It's a new thing. Nobody knows much about it. And that's step number one about leadership. Number two, to reach there will be many barriers. It will be very expensive to reach there where you are trying to take them. And thirdly, which is very, very important, in the process of moving, you have lost their comfort. You not reach. You are promising them where they are going is better, but they are already happy where they are, isn't it? Now, with those three, it then means whoever you follow must be trustworthy. You must trust that they can be trusted. They are not playing games with you. They are not trying to lead you for their own sake, for their own benefit. Nothing to do with you. For people to go to you to a stranger land, they must believe there is Canaan. Remember Moses?
Yes.
They must believe there is. And every so often they will forget and say, were there no graves in Egypt? Because they are starting to doubt. Moses know where they are going. So one of the critical things is trust. Because when you trust somebody, you can pay very heavy costs for him. Because you trust him. In fact, I used to be told by my grandfather, I think he can remember when Jomo Kenyatta came back from Britain, 1940s. he started moving all over, especially in Mount Kenya area, telling people, preparing them, there will be a lot of difficulty before we can get independence. So he told people, of course, he used to speak in Kikuyu, in Central Province, he told people, in other words, to get independence, you have to go for the British's jugular. You know, you hold here. The moment you touch there, the British will kick, isn't it? Who are going to be kicked? Kenyans. So before we enter into this matter, be aware it will be expensive. And you know, we're talking 1940s. By 1952, the emergency was declared. And that's when I was growing up. It was a very difficult time. But people persevered because they knew they could trust what Kenyatta had said. He was locked up in prison. They still continued. Now you need to understand that if you truly want to lead people where God has asked you to lead them, the thing you must work on is trust. You must make sure that there is nobody in your group who can suspect you of not being trustworthy. That's why when people ask you, why are you late? Don't make up a story. Because you tell them, why are you late? My child was crying. If they discover you are late just because you passed through your sister's house, later they discover, by the way, Pastor passed through here. How did she arrive on time? You mean you are the child who was crying? They now know Pastor cannot be trusted. You just discover you are going alone. Nobody is following. Because of a small matter, why not own up? Say, I'm late. I don't tell you why I'm late. But please forgive me. Don't lie. I've written a book called, it's called Integrity, the Litmus Test of Good Leadership. And in the book I say, people think you have only two alternatives on the issues of truth. No. You can tell the truth, you can tell a lie, but those are not the only alternatives. Jesus taught us there's a third one. Say nothing. Pilate asked him questions. Jesus refused to answer. Am I communicating? So at no time will you say Jesus lied. He simply said nothing. If you truly have a fear of God, you can never lie. And when sometimes you are telling the truth is so expensive, cost you so heavily, and people can see it would have been sorted out if only you told a white lie, how they say, hey, you know Kamau, muihoke. Ono ke koro horoshi no to mai gere lima, kabai gere lima hado ako enania. You know, Mama Kamau can be trusted. I saw it. Even if some people get her into a hole, she will still tell the truth and end up in a hole. People will after that follow you anyhow, anywhere. They know when you tell them something, you mean it. You cannot lie. You need, and trust is not given, it's earned. It is only you who can make yourself trustworthy. Nobody else can. Initially, we all trust you. But you tear away the trust until we no longer trust you. So it's very, very important. Now, one day, when I say the one day or the other day, don't take me seriously. I'm in my 70s, so the other day can mean 20 years ago. So don't assume with the other day. Now you understand. The other day, I wanted to buy a piece of, my wife and I wanted to buy a piece of land in Okatarongai, which is in Kajiado County. And then, I took a young man who is an agent to get me the plot. Then he told me, you know something, I know you're a Christian, but in the process, there will be money without a receipt. I told him, no, I'm a Christian. Any money without a receipt, you pay it from your pocket. All my money must have receipt. No, but they don't give any receipt. I say, if you don't give a receipt, it means it's corruption. No, it's not corruption. It's just money without. I tell him, my title for such a thing is called corruption. Say, but it will take us forever. So I told him, haven't you heard I'm a Christian? And Jesus is coming again. Maybe the reason why it's not going fast is because Jesus don't want me to eat my money. If he arrives before the land is bought, what will be the use of the land. And he is coming. He is coming back. So let's go at Christ's speed. If they refuse, keep going. Now that boy suffered without bitterness. Because now me, whenever we ask for money, he knows he can't get it. We are told, come back. Wamesema turudi. Yeah, it's okay. See, I told you, we tarudi. We are praying. God's timing is what? Matters. Finally, we actually were able, the Maasai gentleman was selling me the land. Finally, he had done all the papers, he signed. Now his title is taken for a new title to be